Smartwatches are becoming the norm for most, and Huawei are the best in the business when it comes to health and fitness tracking, as well as some seriously good-looking timepieces that most other smartwatches just don't give you. Today we'll be testing out the new HUAWEI Watch GT 5 and GT 5 Pro, the Watch Ultimate, which is now available in green, and the Watch D2, which packs in accurate blood pressure monitoring. Each watch comes with a magnetic charger and of course a strap in their respective boxes. I have the titanium GT 5 Pro, so it comes bundled with some extra links to adjust the strap size. The Watch Ultimate also comes with a titanium strap with extra links as well, but in the box you'll also find a woven strap and a rubber strap, which has an extended piece for use over a diving wetsuit. They don't call it Ultimate for nothing. The Watch D2 comes with an inflatable strap, which works like those wrist cuffs that measure blood pressure. And there's an extra length airbag strap in the box so that you can make sure your watch is fitted correctly for accurate blood pressure measurements. The GT5 is the cheapest, starting at 5,000 South African Rand. The GT5 Pro starts at 7,000 Rand, but the titanium strap variant will set you back an extra 3,000. The Watch Ultimate is the most expensive at 18,000 Rand, and the Watch D2 comes in at 8,500 Rand. So there's watches to suit every budget, and each watch is very competitive in terms of pricing when you compare them to other brands, and those other brands typically don't offer premium materials and plenty different color options to choose from. They all come in loads of different colors and materials, and the GT5 series watches have smaller models for ladies, so be sure to check out the links in the description for more info on those. I've had some time with all four of these watches, but the GT5 Pro has been my watch on the daily for the past 2 months, so it will be interesting to see how it stacks up against these other Huawei smartwatches. The Watch Ultimate is absolutely gorgeous and has to be my pick for standout looks, but it's the largest watch here and it shows. The 46mm GT5 and GT5 Pro are similar in size, but the Pro model seems a tad bigger due to its strap design. The D2 is the only rectangular watch here, but it makes sense for easier health monitoring. The D2 is also the lightest of the lot, coming in at just 40 grams without the strap. The 46mm GT5 is 48 grams, and the Pro is 5 grams heavier. The Ultimate is naturally the heaviest, coming in at 76 grams. But that's because it has the largest display area and the most premium materials. The GT5, GT5 Pro and Ultimate all have sapphire crystal glass displays, and the GT5 Pro and Ultimate both offer nano crystal ceramic backs, while the standard GT5 and D2 both have fiber reinforced backs. The D2 has an aluminum body, the GT5 a stainless steel body, and while the GT5 Pro is fully titanium, the Watch Ultimate takes things further with a zirconium-based liquid metal body and a dual-tone nano crystal ceramic bezel. So ultimately, when it comes to the Ultimate, you're paying for some pretty premium build materials. But in all honesty, the fully titanium build of the GT5 Pro is more than strong enough, especially when you consider that it costs half the price of the Ultimate. But for that Ultimate price, you're also treated to 3 straps in the box, which is only the case for the new green color Watch Ultimate. There's a rubber strap, much like what you get with the Watch D2, a woven strap, which is similar to the GT5's woven strap, but that one's mixed up with a bit of rubber, and lastly a titanium strap, which is what you get with the titanium GT5 Pro, though the Ultimate is a bit more shiny. All of these watches offer quick release buttons for their straps, and the titanium straps have quick release tabs for their links. Rubber is great for working out, woven is great for golf or sleep, and titanium is awesome for when you want to go out and show the world your classy watch. That said, I did go to gym with the titanium version GT5 Pro pretty much every day for the past 2 months, and I have to say that the titanium band actually had less sweat buildup than every time I used rubber in the past. It also has less friction as opposed to rubber, and even though it's a bit heavier than rubber, I didn't really notice it much after a couple days, and I completely forgot I was using a metal watch strap at all. It was also, oddly enough, a pleasure to use while I was in the swimming pool. I'm not a huge fitness freak, but I work out enough at the gym to benefit from a fitness tracker, and all of these watches do great jobs at just that. The D2 has over 80 exercise modes, and the GT5, GT5 Pro and Ultimate have over 100, but the Ultimate has an extra 20 professional sport modes for ultimate enthusiasts. The Ultimate also takes things further in terms of waterproofing, as it can be used for diving as deep as 100 meters for up to 24 hours. The GT5 Pro can also go diving with you, but its limit is 40 meters, Without diving modes enabled, the Ultimate can go 100 meters deep for 10 minutes, and the GT5 Pro can do the same, but it's limited to 50 meters. The standard GT5 can also go 50 meters deep for 10 minutes. It's not a diving watch like the Pro and Ultimate, but it's still great for swimming. The D2 is waterproof too, but it's not built for swimming at all, so don't expect to find any swimming exercise modes on the watch. So I guess if you're seriously into diving, then the Ultimate is the one to go for. If you occasionally like to dive, then the GT5 Pro is a very good pick. It's also really good for recording lap times in a swimming pool, which I've been doing almost once or twice a week at the gym, and it has been phenomenal. If you're not really into diving, but you still want to record lap times like this in the swimming pool, then the GT5 is all you really need. It's simple to enter into pool swimming mode on either watch, and once you've selected the pool length, you're good to go. Once you're done with your swim session, you can open up your HUAWEI Health app on your phone and get a detailed breakdown. It's crazy accurate at figuring out which stroke you're doing and how many strokes you do per lap. The GT5 series and Ultimate are also corrosion resistant, so that's another thing you don't have to worry about. When I'm not swimming, I'm usually running, and the app is filled with stats to show you how you did and ways to see how you can improve your run. When cardio is getting too much for me, there are plenty other workout modes, such as strength training. There's also automatic workout detection, which is awesome for those times that you forget to start your session. A nice thing about these workout modes is that there's side widgets which allow you to control your music when you're playing it on your phone. And yes, apps like Spotify work just fine and even allow you to adjust music volume with the crown. The GT5 series and Watch D2 all have a single crown and a single button, which are used for shortcuts and navigating around the interface. The Ultimate has the same, but packs in an extra button at the top left for expedition mode, which allows you to get lost in the great outdoors and be able to make your way back when you're done by marking different waypoints. This is something that is missing on the GT5 series. There are so many different workout modes that I couldn't possibly go through them all, but one noteworthy one is the new golf mode, which Huawei recently released and is only available on the GT5 Pro and the Watch Ultimate. It's simple to get into golf mode on your wrist, and you can download over 15,000 real courses worldwide. I'm not really into golf, but I downloaded a course near my location, and it's crazy how much this could help your game with a full view of the map, a scorecard, different distances, slopes, and even wind speeds and directions. Though I'm not at the golf course right now, so I'm not in range for wind stats. So just like with diving, if you're into golf, then best you pick up a GT5 Pro or an Ultimate, because the standard GT5 and the Watch D2 unfortunately lack this feature. However, they are all fantastic at health tracking. They all have similar sensors, but the GT5 Pro and Ultimate are the only ones with depth sensors. In terms of health tracking, the standard GT5 is the only one that lacks ECG. The Watch D2 is the most health-driven watch here, as it's the only one with a hall sensor and pressure sensor. It's also the only watch here that has airbag straps to accurately read and monitor your blood pressure. This means that if you have high blood pressure, for example, you can set up a schedule and continuously measure your blood pressure to make sure it's in check, making this a perfect replacement for larger blood pressure monitors you would typically use at home. You have to place your arm across your chest like this in order to get an accurate blood pressure measurement. And yes, it is certified, meaning that it's not just a gimmick. It's actually tightening up on my wrist right now, which is actually crazy. It's the only watch like this in the world. All of these Huawei watches give you really good indicators of your health levels, but don't just leave it at that. If one of your Huawei watches make you a bit wary of your health, make sure that you consult an actual doctor. A BPM is great for regularly checking your blood pressure, but the Watch D2 also offers all the other health trackers that the other watches offer too, such as SpO2, heart rate, pulse wave, stiffness, sleep, stress data, and more. Stress data is known as emotional well-being on the GT5 series and Watch Ultimate, but only the GT5 series has the Pet Panda watch face pre-installed, which has an animated panda reflect your current mood. You can track your mood throughout the day and see when you're a bit sad or overstressed, which allows your watch to recommend different activities to change up your state of mind. When I was writing up this review, I was honestly so overwhelmed by all of these features, and to be honest with you, there's a lot here that I wouldn't use. But it's always nice to know that you have everything you could possibly want on your wrist when you do eventually need it. For me, the only things I genuinely care about from a smartwatch is to be able to track my gym sessions and to be able to track my sleep. sleep. Only the GT5 series and Watch D2 come with Huawei's new TrueSense system, which means they should be more accurate than the Ultimate when it comes to health and fitness tracking. The Ultimate sensor is still very good though. During my extensive time with the GT5 Pro, I wore it to sleep every night to track my sleep, and it seriously opened my eyes in terms of my sleep patterns. I have an 8-month-old baby, and it's always good to see how often I deep sleep. It's also good to keep tabs on my sleep quality so that I know I'm in top shape for work. I've gotten into a bit of a habit to check my sleep data every morning when I wake up. The best thing about the Huawei Health app is that it works on both Android and iOS, and if you have two smartphones both logged into the same Huawei account, all of your health and fitness data is synced. You can also have multiple watches connected to one phone, and if you would like to move that watch to a different device, even between Android and iOS, you can simply head into settings and disconnect your watch on one phone to reconnect it to another without losing anything on your watch. And I did exactly that. I use my iPhone and my Huawei Pure 70 Ultra for different things. So the other day, I headed to the gym with my iPhone and my GT5 Pro, and when I got home, I wanted to switch back to my Pure 70 Ultra, and when I did, I disconnected and reconnected my GT5 Pro to my Huawei smartphone, and it kept all of my settings exactly the same and synced all my data too. And in case you were wondering, yes, any of these watches work with a Huawei phone, any other Android, or even an iOS device. If you do use it with an iPhone, for example, it also syncs data between your Huawei Health app and your Apple Health app so that all of your fitness and health data is stored in Apple Health too. Most of these watches' functionalities work perfectly when connected to an iPhone, though I did notice just two things that don't. The first is that you can't use Huawei's Petal Maps on your watch, and the second is that you can't reply to messages on your watch when it's connected to your iPhone. The Watch D2 only allows you to quick reply to messages from apps such as WhatsApp and Instagram, but the GT5 series and Ultimate allow you to use a full QWERTY keyboard to send a custom reply. This isn't something that you can do when your device is connected to an iPhone. But that doesn't really bother me since it's a lot easier to just reply on your phone. I like to use my smartwatch to keep me informed on things, not to replace my actual smartphone. The Watch Ultimate is a great watch, but it's more than a year and a half old. And even though the new green color, which just released, is mesmerizing, the hardware inside of it is unchanged. When using it by itself, it feels rather quick. But after using the newer GT5 Pro for a while, I did notice that the new GT5 series and even the Watch D2 are slightly snappier than Huawei's most expensive watch. That said, they're all running on the latest version of Harmony OS 5, so their user interfaces are all pretty similar. You can click the crown to see your apps in a list or a grid view, swipe down for control center, up for notifications, left for quick glance and voice assistant if you're connected to a Huawei phone, and right for widgets which are fully customizable. They all offer plenty of pre-installed watch faces which can be customized in terms of style, scale, and functions. And if you get bored with what's on the watch, you can always download thousands from the watch face store, which includes paid and free faces, and yes, this can also be done if you're using an iPhone. Other noteworthy features include NFC for contactless payments using the Huawei Wallet app, and a speaker and microphones for making and receiving Bluetooth calls on your wrist. So while all of their software is identical, the GT5 Pro has the upper hand over the Ultimate in terms of processing speed and sensor accuracy. The new GT5 series also has better GPS systems thanks to their new Sunflower positioning system, which actually allows you to route draw your own custom running route maps, which is something awesome if you want to spike your creativity. But what you'll be looking at most of the day is the time, and with that, the watch's screen. And the Ultimate has the rest beat in terms of sheer size. The Ultimate has a huge 1.5-inch circular display, which is a bit bigger than the 1.43-inch screens seen on the 46mm GT5 series watches. And despite the GT5 watches having an octagonal shape, they also sport circular displays. Their round faces make them look like proper timepieces, and not just like a calculator on my wrist. We'll have to forgive the D2 for that, but it's a medical watch, so the rectangular face does make the most sense for it. The D2 has the largest screen on paper at 1.82 inches, but it's rectangular, so it's not exactly larger when you look at it. The D2 is also the brightest here, coming in at 1500 nits of peak brightness, while the GT5 series caps out at 1200 nits, and the Ultimate is the lowest with 1000 nits. minutes, but it's still plenty bright enough even when outdoors. Their screen resolutions are all pretty similar, and all of them are crystal clear when using them thanks to their AMOLED panels. However, the Ultimate is the only one here with an LTPO display, meaning it can refresh between 1 and 60 Hz to save some battery when displaying its always-on display. All of them have always-on displays, and they are all plenty bright enough to see the time. You can flick your wrist to either wake your watch or to show your always-on display. You can always tap to wake the screen if you change this setting. I don't think I'd buy a watch without an always-on display. But of course it does affect battery life, which isn't something you really need to worry about with these Huawei watches, because unlike other watches, these things last for days. They all have pretty similar sized battery capacities, but the D2 can only last for a maximum of 6 days with typical usage, and up to 1 day with the ABPM feature enabled, which is actually impressive considering it's constantly measuring your blood pressure. The 46mm GT5 and GT5 Pro, as well as the Watch Ultimate, can all last up to a max of 14 days. However, the 46mm GT5 series can last for up to 9 days of typical use and up to 5 days with the always-on display enabled, which is a day longer than that of the Ultimate. They all come with magnetic chargers, and while there's no time data on Huawei's website for the D2, the GT5 series and Ultimate are all said to take around 60 minutes to fully charge. Since I've spent most of my time with the GT5 Pro, I enabled absolutely everything I could, including the always-on display. I wore it to gym pretty much every day and wore it to sleep every single night, and its battery drained from 100 to 1% in just 7 days. I also charged it up and tested that too, and it went from 1 to 100% in exactly 58 minutes, which is very impressive considering you'll only have to do it once a week if you're a heavy user. So to sum things up, if health and blood pressure monitoring are the most important things to you, but you still want a very good smartwatch that can do most of what the rest can do too, then get the Watch D2. If you're on a budget and can do without a couple sensors, don't care much about having the absolute best build quality, don't scuba dive or play golf, but still want a very capable health and fitness tracker with the same great display and battery as its more expensive brother, then go for the Watch GT5. If money is no object and you want the most premium built Huawei watch ever, with an incredible design, massive display, extra straps, and are a serious diver, explorer, and golf player that still wants phenomenal battery and performance, then the Watch Ultimate is calling your name. But if you'd like to save some money and still want a premium titanium built watch with faster processing, better battery life, newer sensor technology, more bearable to wear on a daily basis, and still enjoy diving and playing golf, then the Huawei Watch GT5 Pro is the watch for you. The GT5 Pro offers newer technology when compared to the Ultimate, and even though it lacks in certain areas, it more than makes up for it in areas that matter the most. It is well worth the extra bit of money when compared to its little brother, the GT5, and is half the price of the Ultimate. So in my opinion, it is the watch that most people would go for. But either way, all of these watches are incredible timepieces that you will no doubt be happy with. If you'd like to find out more info on any of these incredible smartwatches, be sure to check the link down below. Also, if maybe you'd want to purchase one yourself. As always, this is TechNick, and I'll catch you in the next one.